What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Flying with Doug. This is episode 8. Dayton starts off the A10 slate with a win over LaSalle, 84-70, 11-3 on the year for the Dayton Flyers. Guys, first thing that I want to talk about on the show tonight, and I appreciate everybody who tunes in, and I thank you guys very much. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I hope you guys have a great New Year, obviously, later tonight. But first things I want to talk about, 11 days off in between the Cincinnati game and the LaSalle game. You can kind of feel that when the game first started tonight. Dayton just took time to get back into, game ready basketball. So I'm not going to hold any of that against Dayton early. Finished the first half on a really nice run. So nothing to complain about, really. 36-21 at the end of the first half. Things I want to highlight, though, in the first half before we get into the second half that got a little closer than it probably should have been at the end there. Nothing really to get overly upset about. But first thing I want to talk about is the bench for Dayton in the first half. Those guys absolutely came in and gave Dayton a massive, massive boost. To start off the game, LaSalle was up 8-2 at the 15:56 mark. Simon comes in. Simon's a guy who on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, I've been very big on. I think he can provide good minutes and productive minutes for the Flyers, and he did that again tonight. In the first half, he had 5 points, 2 rebounds. He had the 1 offensive rebound on the tip slam off the Cheeks miss, and then he had a nice step into transition 3. He was really big and instrumental in that first half in reclaiming the lead and helping Dayton keep the lead in the first half. Along with Emil Latong, I thought their minutes together were excellent. They were positive minutes. Everything those two were doing really helped the team. Latong at the end of the first half, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks at halftime. That was huge. And a quick update, Simon had 5 points, 4 rebounds at halftime. Sorry, I want to correct myself there. The bench was excellent. I believe Connor had 7 points at halftime. Posh had 2 points. Posh had 3 steals to go along with his 2 points for a total of 20 first half points from the bench. And that was really the difference in the game. Was Dayton's bench, I believe, outscored LaSalle's bench 20-5 at halftime. And, it's hard to make up the difference in those points right there. LaSalle, not a great team. I know Brooks, would call them probably a middle of the pack A10 team. I think that's a good compliment for LaSalle's program. They've got some good players. That McKeithen guy from Ryder was able to score 19 tonight. He's a good scorer. I wouldn't call him, necessarily an efficient scorer from the field tonight. 6 of 14, held him just under 50%. I was really impressed with the Shepard kid, Deshaun Shepard. Had 18 points for LaSalle tonight. That dude's extremely athletic. 18 points, 8 rebounds. And then they had the 18 points from Acker off the bench. And that was the bulk of their scoring. They had 3 guys who scored 18 points or more. And to me, at this level in the A10, it's going to take a little bit more to beat Dayton, especially when you only shoot, they ended up shooting 35% from 3, but that was very late in the game. They didn't really get to that point until late with a couple late makes that made it look closer than it really was. And then, Dayton held them to 41% from the field, which was good defense overall. Again, last, couple minutes there, LaSalle was able to make it a closer looking game than it really was. Next, I want to talk about, Enoch Cheeks in this game, I thought played a good all-around game. We still haven't seen him get back to his offensive highs that we saw early in the season. 4 of 12 tonight. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He had 4 steals, 10 points. The 3-point shot has kind of gone away from him, and he struggled a little bit to finish at the basket. But he had a great and one on a steal. He was able to do a couple nice things. He had a nice pull-up jump shot from the top of the key. Enoch Cheeks, the best thing about him is even if the offense isn't going where it needs to go, he's able to help you in other ways, and he's able to pick up his game in other situations. like I said, the 4 steals is huge. 2 assists, 4 rebounds. He just doesn't give up on anything in the game, and that's something you like to have from one of your best players. Nate Santos had 1 point at halftime. He ends up with 12, 1 of 5 from 3. So he, in his last 5 games, is 4 of 17 from 3. Not great, but we know Nate Santos is a great 3-point shooter. He's got to keep shooting them. He's got to keep shooting them. He had a nice block tonight, 3 assists, 3 rebounds to go with his 12 points. Zed Key had his worst offensive game of the year, and it really didn't matter because the guy behind Zed Key is bordering on being a phenom. Like, yeah, he struggled a little bit in the game against UC, UNLV, not great. Emil Latong is a fantastic basketball player. He is maybe the most skilled player on the team. Now, we can go into that, and we can talk skill for skill if you'd like to. It's a bold statement, but next season, Emil Latong will be one of the best players in the Atlantic 10. He might dominate half the A10 games this year that Dayton plays. 12 points tonight, 5 assists, incredible, 5 rebounds. He had the 2 blocks in the first half. He's just such a good basketball player at such a young age. He's got great footwork, great court vision. He knows where to be on long rebounds. His positioning is good. He runs the court well. He had a couple nice dunks tonight. A nice lob from Malachi Smith to catch and dunk. I mean, look, Emil Latong, as you guys know, he's one of my favorite players to watch on this team because of all the skills he brings to the table, and he did it again tonight with 12 points, 5, and 2 blocks. Great game from him. I want to talk about something in the second half that I was a little bit confused about. Look, you guys know I'm a Simon guy. I support him. Had his best half of the season in the first half. And then Simon probably, I'm sitting there, I'm watching, and Dayton's playing. They're playing all right in the second half. Nothing crazy. Simon doesn't come in until the 9:17 mark in the second half. And I'm really, I understand they want to get Nate Santos going. They want to get some of those other things working. Jacob Connor, had a good game. He had a nice Euro step early. He had a nice breakaway dunk. It was, a solid game from Jacob Connor after, some people were on him after his struggles against UC. But to me, the question mark I had was Musa did not play in the first half. And then Musa was the first sub off the bench in the second half. I want Musa to get minutes, subbed in at the 18:30 mark. But if Simon just played his best half of the year, why would you not bring him in first? To me, that didn't make sense in terms of coaching. And, things changed, ebbs and flows of the game. Maybe the coaching staff thought Simon didn't have something in the second half that they didn't like. This guy, Haywood, I don't know why he hates me so much. He's always talking to, commenting on everything I say on Twitter. Here he is in the comments now. Are you an alum? I feel like if you followed this along long enough, you would know that. You always comment on my stuff. Sorry for the people who listen to this on audio only, but this guy just seems to be on me all the time about dumb shit. So there's his little 2 minutes there. But back to the game, I just didn't understand the Simon minutes in the second half didn't really mirror how well I thought he played overall. Quick shout out to Posh Alexander. His minutes were kind of down in the second half, but I felt like in the first half, Posh Alexander, he only had the 2 points. He had the 3 rebounds. He had 3 steals. I thought he came in and played an effective game for the limited time he was out there. The minutes just felt a little bit odd to me in the second half overall in a really good Flyers win. So 84-70, Dayton gets that home win after the 11 days off. 11 days off for anybody is going to be a hard hurdle. Next, they've got GW on the 4th, and that's going to be on the USA Network. GW 11-2 also. This is another game that Dayton should win. Dayton really is going to, I believe, they was posted, Dayton is favored to win all of their games except for the last game against VCU in the conference schedule. There's just George Washington doesn't have anything that should be able to overwhelm and beat Dayton this year. They've got, let's pull up their roster here. They've got Buchanan Jr., a forward. He averages 15 and a half a game, 7 rebounds. He's a good player. He's a guy who I believe Nate Santos is going to be matched up against. They've got Drumgoole Jr., guard, another guy who scores around 13 a game. He's a guy I would assume we're going to put cheeks on. And then Rafael Castro, big guy, 10 and a half points a game, 8.5 rebounds a game. Zedkey, to me, Zedkey is a better basketball player. So overall, there's just nothing that I've seen from GW that makes me think that they can beat Dayton. They played, they played their best non-conference game. They played Kansas State. They played American. They haven't really played anybody. They're playing Richmond right now. Richmond, let's see, what's the score of that game now? Let me get it pulled up here. It's early in the first half. Richmond's up 2, so I'll be interested to see how that game plays out and see what GW has for Richmond as the game goes along. But overall, guys, Dayton does what they needed to do. Come out, get that win, get back into the flow of things, get back into the flow of the season after a long layoff after the tough UC game. And I'm pretty excited with how Dayton played. There's always things you can shore up. There's some defensive lapses. There's some couple turnovers here and there that aren't ideal. Overall, Dayton they turned the ball over 11 times. You probably don't want to see that. Got a little loose with the ball late. Stuff that can be made up. Points in the paint, Dayton dominated 44-26. I'm happy with the team so far. I'm happy with the team. 11 steals tonight, 20 assists. I don't think Dayton should lose more than 3 conference games. And I think 3 conference games is probably on the high side. To me, losing 1 to VCU, you might hit a landmine, and then maybe 1 more. But you cannot lose more than 3 conference games this season. The A10 is just not good enough top to bottom for Dayton to lose that many games. And like I say, I don't know what it is. Dayton just can never finish an A10 season without something happening. This, to me, feels like the year. This feels like we have enough dogs in the locker room. We have enough guys who can do different things where Dayton should win the A10 this year. I know it's early. Beating LaSalle doesn't change the world. 14-point win. The line was 17.5. I thought that was a high line after such a long layoff. Dayton did not shoot the 3 ball well tonight. I expect them to shoot closer to 35, 36, 37%. In some of these other games, they shot, like I said, 28% tonight. That's not going to cut it against VCU and some of these other teams, but I expect Dayton to be better down the line. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. 75 live viewers. Great win tonight. We'll be back for the GW game to recap that. Thanks, guys, and go Flyers as always. We will see you guys around.